DMEC Live and joining us for the Dunedin Race Relations Week 2021.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Um, I, I think we have a few things to discuss during this particular show, and I guess if you don't mind to give us a quick introduction of yourself as the CEO of Football South, as well as some of your past experiences related to the upcoming events on the 28th of March, which is the football tournament, will be much appreciated.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I'm the CEO of Football South. I've been here for almost 6 years. And my background is sort of business technology and startups, but football is a huge passion of mine. Coming from the UK originally, it is sort of the national sport, or one of them. And yeah, it's a pleasure to have been involved in lots of really amazing initiatives. Across many different cultural groups and associations in my 6 years here. And yeah, definitely looking forward to the Tournament of Nations coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, just really delighted, I guess, at the diverse nature of our communities, not just in football, but across our entire region in lots of different areas of life, and really just celebrating what a diverse place we are. And my job is really just to make sure that Football South has really inclusive, supportive opportunities for everyone from any race or religion, gender or bias to be involved in the game and have a quality experience doing it.
Indeed. I actually heard quite a few things about Football South being involved in this kind of inclusiveness, even documented in the strategies of your organization. I believe there's some previous collaborations with the Nahish, what's his name? Was there? I think he's a superintendent, Nando. I don't know if their name rings a bell. I think he's one of the police culture advisors in the headquarters. I think there's some previous collaboration between Football South and the culture advisor to draft the strategy. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's a few amazing people that help us along the way. Rakesh, who is on the New Zealand football board, is an amazing guy who's really opened our eyes to the gap from what we were doing to what we should be doing. And our goal is just to make positive steps every year to be doing better. We've worked with lots of amazing people locally, including Lux and lots of people from the Multicultural Society, from the Chinese Association, from the Muslim Association, from the Al Huda Mosque. There's just some really amazing people around the area. And I'm not just talking about Dunedin either. We run all the way from South Canterbury to Southland, and there's lots of amazing people who help create quality opportunities for our diverse communities to be involved in the game. So yeah, it's really it's one of the most rewarding parts of my job to be involved in this area, and something it can be quite spiritual at times, and it can also be quite sad. The gap that we've got to bridge, but our job is just to keep trying and making positive steps.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And football in particular seems to be a very international game, isn't it? It's, all sorts of different countries are very involved in the game, and we have a lot of quite a famous high impact international tournaments happen quite often.
Yeah, I think the one of the beauties of all sport is that it can bridge barriers which that can't be bridged in other ways, and it is an amazing experience to to see people who in a normal cultural way of things might naturally clash, to actually be on a football field and laughing and joking and having a great experience, and it also sort of overcomes lots of challenges. Just getting on the pitch and kicking a ball is just naturally a great thing to do, and I think it teaches us lots of lessons about life, and it'd be great to see lots of cultures, different cultures being represented over the events that are happening during Race Relations Week.
Yes, indeed. So talking about that particular tournament, It actually happens on the 28th of March at 9 o'clock at Logan Park. And that's a tournament that involves the hosted by Football South and DMEC and Southern Police and the Red Cross. So how many teams are actually coming for that particular tournament?
Oh, I'm not sure yet, but it was quite popular when I checked earlier in the week. So
Yeah.
I haven't entered my English team yet, so I have to see
Is
if I
that
can.
right?
I'm sure there's enough. I'm sure there's enough English, around town that we can find one.
Indeed.
But yeah, certainly. I'd spoken with a couple of teams who I play against at futsal, who I know we're going to enter, and yeah, so plenty of running there, I imagine, for us. But yeah, I think you'll find it'll be pretty popular.
Yeah. I heard words on the street that it's been very popular in high demand. So I think hopefully we don't have to turn people away at the time, but I think it's going to be a very successful event.
Yeah, I think so too. We can scale the tournament as well to add additional teams if we need to. We're quite flexible, especially with that artificial turf out there. We've got a really great resource to be able to be a bit robust and agile. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it and chatting to some of the people involved. And it's just one of the things that's happening during a real celebration of a week, and with the events that happened 2 years ago, it's events like this that really put a positive light on our diverse communities, and so it's the timing of it, having that celebration is really positive too.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I think there are lots of studies that has shown that exercise and sports actually help to not only strengthen you physically, also improves mental health side of things, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Exercise is something I need a bit more of. So, yeah, I can attest that it is definitely a huge, not just mental health tool, but a social tool. And the reason that most of our members get involved in football is firstly for fitness and enjoyment, but probably most importantly is for the friendships that they build, lifelong friendships that you'll be able to see people for decades in the future that you've met through playing sport of some kind. And those connections will never diminish. It's amazing some of the teams that are still together and the stories you hear about people who've played together for 30 or 40 years.
Yes, indeed. So I think you just mentioned before that you've been involved with the Football South for the almost coming up 6 years. And as we referred to early on, that there's a lot of different new directions and strategies that you introduced as a CEO at Football South. And I've seen that there's quite a few emphasis on the grassroots representation, on the women's and female representations. Can you tell us a bit more about that kind of journey?
Yeah, well, I think there is probably a reflection that football in New Zealand can be, very much a male Pākehā sport, and that's something that we're really trying to, while there's a lot of male Pākehās who do play football, we're trying to make sure that our whole game can reflect the diverse population of New Zealand and focus on our region of what our population in our region's like. And so we've made a huge effort to drive change in girls and women's football through developing better clubs, more female coaches, better quality experiences and programs for girls and women in the game. And really that philosophy just extends into lots of areas of our game, including our diversity inclusion initiatives. And we have a number of things going on. We're working to improve our cultural understanding of our own Maori people and how our organization works to support that population, and as well as initiatives in the Chinese and the Muslim community, initiatives with the multi-ethnic council. And it is sort of overwhelming sometimes that the possibilities that are open to us in those areas, but and and it's quite a big challenge in a way because it's a lot of it is new, but it's definitely us taking the approach of doing what we feel is right, and we always try and do what we feel is right. And certainly, it's been exciting to see lots of new exciting opportunities be opened up for our population, and that's something that we just want to continue. So it's been a pretty fun journey, and it's our staff who do a lot of work to make this happen, and they've really embraced it. We have quite a diverse staff ourselves, which really helps support that to happen.
It sounds really exciting changes that I'm sure breaking the existing kind of framework is always going to be difficult, but it's great to see you doing what you believe is right and trying to encourage all those different representations in the sports field. I guess referring to that a bit more in terms of, because you actually initially you were born in the UK, isn't it? And then you moved over here while still pursuing your passion of football. Did you see any particular differences between the football tournaments or games in general back at home and compared to in New Zealand?
Yeah, it's a massively different football environment in particular. So in the UK, football is clearly the number one sport, and there's possibly tens of millions who play it. So I think the population of the UK around 80 million when I left, and there's the game is so big. There's so many tiers, and the pathway between playing in the community grassroots space through to being an elite footballer is absolutely massive. Whereas in New Zealand, because of the small population, the pathway is very much shortened. So you're only one or two steps away from playing local club football to potentially being in contention for a national team underage position, or being involved in an Oceania tournament. So very much a different landscape, and I think culturally, football isn't the number one sport in New Zealand. That in terms of the general population can get behind, and you'll see with things like the yachting this week, it's been pretty amazing. Like the national support, and rugby, always has huge support. Cricket as well, and football's sort of down the pecking order culturally. And possibly that's because we don't get to see the national teams as often in New Zealand either. That's because of the way the professional game's set up and where New Zealand rank in the world. But we have a great opportunity coming up with the Women's World Cup being hosted in New Zealand in 2023. And that's just something I can just see the entire country getting behind. It could be a real, I guess, a game changer for the way that New Zealanders see football. And certainly we've seen it happen in other countries around the world, and that's a really cool thing that's going to happen. And I just can't wait for that, because it's going to be such an exciting event. So yeah, certainly just in my sort of 12 or 13 years here, I've seen football grow in terms of popularity, but I think it can take some more steps yet.
Yeah, I think Kiwis are particularly good at backing our own teams, isn't it? So regardless of what sports that whether we're familiar with or not, but as long as it's going on at the time, I'm sure people will get interested and be quite supportive of the team. I think it's great to hear that the women's football tournament is coming up. That's the female version of FIFA, is that correct?
Yes, it's the FIFA Women's World Cup. It's I guess, the most watched women's sporting event in the world. Last happened in France in 2019. We've won a joint bid with Australia to host the event, and one day soon, hopefully, we'll find out if Dunedin has been a successful host city as well.
Oh, that will keep you busy, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, that will keep us all busy, but for a great reason.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I guess we just want to talk a bit more towards the end of this interview, a bit more about the events on the day. Do we have a rough structure in terms of the tournament itself? Do we have what's the the team numbers, for example, per team? Do we have out of 3 goals, etc.? Like, what was the actual competition structure it's going to be?
Yeah, I think it will depend on how many teams enter. So we'll perhaps decide that quite late in the game. But what we'd probably prefer is it's probably a pool structure to start with, so that teams can get more games, and the games to get more games, but them potentially to be a little bit shorter, so that lots of different teams can play each other. So that's the sort of approach we'll take. There'll be 7v7 size fields, so probably running across the artificial turf, which gives us 4 fields in total, using the middle-sized goals. And there'll be referees, by our community referees and staff, and there'll be some giveaways. I think there's going to be some tasty, food from different cultures available, which I'll make sure that I check them all, that they're safe, and I'm sure they'll be yummy, I think then there'll be some kind of qualification to a semi-final and the final before the day's done. But I know that the week closes in the afternoon, so the tournament itself will be focused on just a few hours in the morning, rather than sort of an all-day affair.
Yes, indeed. Are you going to be playing yourself?
Oh, we'll see if anyone wants me in their team.
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah, well,
I think both of us should jump into a team and have a go.
I totally agree with you, and as long as they're not expecting me to run a lot, then I think I'll be fine.
I can be the goalie in that case. Oh, great. Is there anything else that you want to talk about during this show, I guess, particularly for Football South as well?
Look, I just think encourage everyone to get involved in this event, and just to become more aware of the cultures all around them, and the diverse, amazing place that we live in. And if you're not going to play, then just come along to the event on the 28th, and I'm sure it'll be great. And I've just I'm so amazed with some of the great people I've met through my journey, working in this area in New Zealand so far, and it's just such a rewarding part of what we do. So thank you to everyone who is making this event happen. And it's taken a huge amount of effort. I know as well from the Multi-Ethnic Council have put in a huge work to make this happen, and some of the initiatives that are just going on around town being driven by volunteers out in the community. Just massive kudos to them all. The more things that happen, the better, and it should be a great event. So get along in any way you can.
That's right. Yeah. So if you're not too into sports, there will be food available. We can't let Chris to safety check all the food, so need to have other people there too, right?
We'll make sure some's left. Yeah.
Indeed. Hey, thanks, Chris, for your time again. Really appreciate you getting involved with us and supporting that, and appreciate you working and driving the Football South and towards the diversity and multicultural side of things too. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks for hosting me, and thanks for all the work that you do, for the organisation and your team as well.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see each other on the football field on the 28th then.
I'm sure we will. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.